You walk all the way to our campsite. That's only 30 minutes. That's all.
Oh, okay, you mean from the beach. I
Yes.
thought from like the really northern tip where like all the vegetation is. Okay, all right. Yeah, yeah, it's about 30 minutes from the beach then.
Off Gassing, a scuba podcast with host Nick Hogel. I am always excited to highlight conservation on the podcast, especially when it comes to turtles. If you know me, you know I'm a fan of turtles. In this episode, I interviewed Ginny and Seh Ling from Lang Tengah Turtle Watch, located off the east coast of Peninsular Malaysia. I speak to them about day-to-day operations, conservation efforts, typical days off, and much more. Please enjoy. Today I have some members of Lang Tengah Turtle Watch to speak about what they do and their role at the conservation project. So we'll start with introductions first. So if we want to go around and just introduce yourself.
Thanks, Nick, for inviting us to be on the podcast. I'm Seh Ling. I'm the principal officer of Lang Tengah Turtle Watch. And I have with me my lovely colleague who just happened to be out of the island today.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Ginny. I'm the project manager of the Lang Tengah project site of Lang Tengah Turtle Watch.
Awesome. So I very much look forward to hearing more about the Turtle Watch. But first, I guess if somebody wants to get started on how and why you became a scuba diver.
I'll share mine first. So I started getting my open water certification when I was kind of doing a part-time job at Redang Island. And since you're there and the ocean's there and everyone's there for the underwater world, so yeah, that was how I got myself into the diving world.
Cool. How was your class when you took it? Were you nervous taking the class, or were you like a fish in water, a turtle in water, I should say?
Well, I would say it's fascinating, like the underwater world. It feels very different as when you're snorkeling. But I would have to say it kind of scared me as well. And that was when I realized during my open water that I actually struggle to equalize. And then as I was a part-time staff, so I was actually doing my open water with other guests and staff. So I didn't really get much like one-to-one like lesson because they just assume like it's not something too difficult. But then what I realized is that I only learned this much later that actually if you have trouble equalizing, you really gotta take your time to descend and ascend because it's really risky. So towards the 7 day of like 3 to 4 dives every day, towards the end of the few dives, it was getting harder and harder to equalize. And I think on my last dive, I even had like nose split, and that really really freaked me out. So and I started having like ear like pain in the ear. So I went for a checkup, and they said I had infection. And then yeah, from then onward, it did take me I think more than 7 years to actually do my advance. And then that was when I actually realized that I gotta really take my time, do it slowly, and yeah, it's all about dive safely.
So I actually started diving back in 2018. It like because I was studying at Sabah that time, so it was already in my list, in my bucket list, that okay, I need to dive at Sabah because Sabah is one of the best place to dive. So I'm like, okay, I gonna get the open water license there. But before I actually plan anything, my friend who happens to studying marine science at that time, they are required to get a diving license for their field work. So they were asking me like, "Oh, JD, we have like group prize. Let's go for it." They were like, "Okay." So yep, I get my open water license with them at Sabah. Really nice. Struggling a bit with the buoyancy, but everything was fine. And yeah, I don't have much like story like selling like any incidents yet. So yeah, thanks God. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So how did you end up at the Turtle Watch?
For me, I've joined them in 2020. I was still finishing up my PhD, and they actually asked if I would like to work with them. And I've been in the turtle conservation field for a while, so that's how I ended up in Lang Tengah Turtle Watch.
Oh, okay, what were you doing before? Like, how did you get into turtle conservation?
Well, I actually studied biodiversity and conservation. But after my degree, I could not actually find a job in conservation. So I started to do my master's, and after my master, I actually did like a internship in turtle conservation, and I found a job in Perhentian that is not about turtles, but is a lot more of conservation work, engaging local communities. So we were doing a lot of like outreach, teaching the kids in the school and engaging the local women like to promote local economy and working with boatmen for like providing eco snorkel guides and stuff like that. So but at the same time, Perhentian is also a nesting area, and that's how with my previous super superior, then we co-founded Perhentian Turtle Project. So that's how my journey in turtle conservation started.
So I studied conservation biology. So but turtle wasn't the first thing that came into my mind actually. Yeah, it was just coincidentally that I got the internship at Lang Tengah Turtle Watch back in 2021. But I wasn't at the islands base yet. So I was at the other project site at Tanjung Jara, Dungmun. Oh, so this is at mainland. It's like the resort setting. But we have a hatchery, so mainly doing hatchery management. It was fun. And after that, they have this marine biologist position open in 2022. So I applied and I got it, and then got promoted to be the project manager in like half year. So yeah, that's how I ended up in Lang Tengah Turtle Watch.
Awesome. And is that where you two met?
Yes, actually.
Yeah,
Where are you from originally?
I am originally from Terengganu.
Oh, okay. That's the mainland over. That's on the East Coast, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, for me, I'm from Selangor.
Ginny will hope that people think she's from Sabah. Sorry.
Yep. Yeah. For some reason, I look like Sabahan. So yeah, but I'm Chinese actually. I'm pure Chinese, 100% pure Chinese. I'm from Selangor.
Selangor. Oh, is that K? I'm still so bad with my Malaysia geography. That's by KL, right?
Yes, it's nearby KL. It's like my house is like 30 minutes. Yeah, it's 30 minutes away from the KL.
Oh, okay, okay.
Where are you based at, Nick?
Me, I live in Penang.
Right, okay, okay. I thought you should be in Malaysia.
Yeah, yeah, no, I do. I live in Malaysia. I actually just hit the 1 year mark about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I've been here for 1 year, and I need to explore more of Malaysia. So I need to. I definitely want to come out and visit the Turtle Watch. So two questions: how do I get to Lang Tengah Turtle Watch? And then also, you have more than one location.
Yeah, we actually have three project sites, and I think you'll be more interested on how to get to Lang Tengah Island because that's the only project site where we dive. The others are actually on mainland, so it still require us like during our off day that we will make a trip to the island. But I'll let Ginny share how you can get to Lang Tengah Island.
Okay.
Sure. So basically, to get to Lang Tengah Island, you have to either fly to Kuala Terengganu, or you take a bus or drive to the Kuala Terengganu. Then you go to the jetty. The jetty is located at Merang. It's a small town from the Kuala Terengganu. That's about like 1 hour drive, 45 minutes to 1 hour drive from Kuala Terengganu. And then from the jetty, you will take the boat to the island. That's about 45 minutes as well. So then you can see the beautiful Lang Tengah Island. It's a very small island. It's very, very small that you can actually walk from the northern tip of the island to the southern part of the island in 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a very small island, but yet
Wait, Ginny,
it's very
30 minutes?
beautiful.
Are you sure? I don't think I beat that. I don't think
30,
I don't think
30.
I've ever beat that. I thought it takes at least like half a day or 1 day.
No, it's about 30
Really?
minutes. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's from Summer Bay there. You walk all the way to our campsite. That's only 30 minutes. That's all.
Oh, okay, you mean from the beach. I
Yes.
thought from like the really northern tip where like all the vegetation is. Okay, all right. Yeah, yeah, it's about 30 minutes from the beach then.
Yeah. If you just walk along the side at the beach, and for the whole island, we only have 3 beaches. That's all.
Is there a lot of is there any resorts there, or is the Turtle Watch the only infrastructure on the island?
Yep. So we have like 3 resorts, and then there's another 2 campsite and us. So total there will be six of the stakeholders on the whole island. Yeah.
Tell me a typical day at the Turtle Watch. Like, what if I were to go volunteer? What is a typical day? Like, I wake up in the morning, so I get some breakfast, and then what do I do? Or do I get breakfast? I don't know.
Of course, you get breakfast. Yeah, but we don't cook for you. So yeah, the typical day of the volunteer is basically every day you wake up. Because we do night patrol in our camp on the island, so basically we wake up quite late. So we start our day after 11 in the morning.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So the breakfast is really on your own because everyone wake up at different time. After that, we have like lunch. So they will have a certain member will be cooking lunch. After lunch, we will have like educational talk to our volunteers. After the talk, we will have like maybe snorkelings. So those snorkelings will be involving like shark survey or like the coral survey. Basically, just snorkel around the island and check like maybe is there any sign of bleaching of the corals, and then we collect the data. Yeah, and then after in the evening, we will check if there is any nest. If there is any nest, then if there is any nest like about to emerge, means that we have baby turtle. Then we will also release them with our volunteer. Then we will have dinner, and then we will start our real job, which is night patrol at the beach from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Oh wow. So the volunteers are up that like all night? Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but good thing is because we have two shifts. One whole shift is about like 4 to 5 hours, depends which shift. So the first shift is from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the morning, and the second shift will be from 2 to 7.
Man, that's late. And so do so everybody goes, so like are you working, does everyone basically stay up all night and then that's why they wake up so late?
Yeah, yeah, you can say that.
So what about you, Sailing? What do you like, what is your typical day like at the project?
It depends on where I am because we have multiple projects and I oversee all the projects. So I actually move around. So if I'm at Lang Tengah, I will pretty much do what they are doing as well. We have pretty much the same activities, and we also do coral restoration monitoring, but not on a daily basis. So that will happen during the day. But yeah, if I'm at other project sites, then the activities will change. But when I'm not at any of the site, I mainly work from home and I do a lot more administrative and managerial tasks.
And Jenny, you, is it kind of the same what you just described? Is that your typical day at the Turtle Watch?
Yes, but except that I also have a lot of management part to do. So yeah.
Okay. So say Ling, are how many people volunteer there normally, like on a certain, like week? Like how many people do you accommodate?
So for the Lang Tengah project, it's a campsite, so we do have limited capacity, like at a time. So we can have like up to 14, 15 people at a time, and we usually can take in like 4 or 5 volunteers and not more.
Oh, okay, okay. What, Jenny, what is your favorite site to go to?
My favorite site. You mean at Lang Tengah?
Yeah, or like, cause there's the three projects, right? So do you like to go to one better than the other, or are you only at one?
So I've been to all three project site, but I would say I actually prefer more at the island. I prefer the island side. Yeah, even though it's a bit rustic, but I prefer there.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And so you're off island today. Is it your day off today?
Unfortunately, not. I'm actually coming out to resupply to buy some food back for my
Oh,
team. Yeah,
so
definitely not my off day.
so you what do you mean resupply? So you have to stock up on food for the week?
Yes, yeah. So because we have quite a lot of people on the campsite now, it's about like 13 people. So the food will gone very, very fast. So usually we resupply every 7 to 10 days. But since we have this much of people, we will actually do weekly resupply. Yeah. So usually it will be one of the managers. So it's either me or my colleague Azrin. So to come out to the mainland to resupply all the food, and sometimes like the cleaning resupply as well. Mosquito coil most important because the mosquito at the island is crazy. So yeah, we will buy all this stuff and back to the island.
So, okay. Question: I can't remember. Did you get T-shirts from me at Mighty?
No, I didn't.
No.
No.
And Ginny didn't go. Ginny didn't go. She didn't
Oh,
attend
okay.
my day.
Well, please send me your address, and I will send you like a few T-shirts, and you can give them to some people because I know some people got T-shirts, but not everybody, right?
Yeah, yeah.
so, um, Seh Ling, how tell me about how you met Ginny.
Actually, I met her when she was an intern in Tanjung Jara.
Okay,
Yeah, but
okay.
the first impression I had on her was she cooks really well.
Oh my God, selling seriously.
Yeah, so basically, like, we have to cook ourselves for all the project sites because we only have a kitchen, and when you have more than seven, eight people, you can't afford everybody going in and out to cook for their own meal. Like, everyone wants to have meal at pretty much the same time, right? So to make it easy and also for like team bonding, we have like, yeah, we cook lunch and or dinner in rotation. So yeah, so the good thing, like I remember, because I'm not always at every project site, I'm not there every day like the managers and the interns. So when I was at Tanjung Jara, and it's kind of nice because we have a variation of people from different culture. And of course, when it's time that Jeannie's cooking, like it's literally like when it's us cooking, then we get Chinese food. So for me, I'm not really a good cook. So I sometimes feel like even though they say it's nice, but I know how it tastes better when I eat outside. So like for me, Jeannie cooks like really up to par, like standard like Chinese cooking. Yeah, but at the same time, I think yeah, like her work and everything, she's very like a keen learner, and if she doesn't understand anything, she would ask, and she's always very helpful, always there, like whenever the team needs anything. Like yeah, so I think like she's just very, she has that initiative and also like leadership, like the potential is there.
Okay, cool.
I gotta add, it's good having Ginny on the team. Well, might not sound really good, like to my bosses maybe, but yeah, it's good to have a drinking buddy on the team.
I
Okay.
know you're gonna say that.
Oh, that's funny.
I know you're gonna say that too if I don't say that.
Yes.
So, Ginny, was that your first experience with Sei Ling? You were just met her while you were cooking. How do you remember meeting her?
Yeah, I remember reading her. Actually, I remember the first time that I met her, she was busy working on the laptop. So I was like, oh my gosh, so stressed to see her like, "Huh, my first time going to work, and like, my bosses are working like very seriously. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed, like seeing, selling, like working there. Then yeah, it got me a bit like stressed, like like how am I gonna do for the next 3 months for my internship? Oh my gosh, that stress. Yeah, but after that, I know that like this is her, that she is like really workaholic woman. But it's good that to know that she's very serious on doing all this data. But yeah, and like her, like what she said, like it's really good to have her as well at the team. Then we can have some drinking time, but of course not always, especially not before or after the dive. So
What kind of data are you collecting? Data. What kind of data are you collecting?
So we do conservation work, and with conservation is that a lot of time is decision makes by made by humans, right? So it's always good that our decision of making certain strategies is actually evidence based, so that you don't just make it because you think or you like, So that's why we do collect data, like monitoring data, even like our coral restoration work. We actually also gather data on like growth survival. So from there we know the outcome of our conservation effort, and we can actually improve it if it's necessary. So one of the data that, for example, that we collect is nest temperature that allows us to actually estimate, are we producing a balanced sex ratio of hatchlings, or are we saving the eggs but actually producing like a skew ratio of all females or all males, that we would ideally not want to do that. So these are a few data that we collect that actually helps with us knowing that are we doing the right thing, or do we have to change our approach or things like that. Yeah, and I think Ginny can go into more specific details of the ones that they collect in Lang Tengah.
Yeah, so at Lang Tengah Island, we actually collect more data, especially when it comes to coral. So for coral, so the data that we collect including like the growth rate and then the survival rate as well for the corals that we actually keep in the nursery and also that we outplanted to the reef. Yeah, so that we can see also because we save a few different species, so by collecting all this data we can also see like how each species how's their growth rate and then how's their survival rate at the certain places as well.
Just a random question back to the turtle. So when a turtle lays eggs on the beach, correct? And then they hatch, how many will hatch like at one time? Like how many is that a dumb question?
That's actually a good question. So it will not always be 100% hatching success. So it usually is lower. And but for us so far is on average of like at least 75% and above of the eggs actually hatch.
Okay. And is this happening year round, or is it only certain times of year that the turtles will come and nest?
There is actually a nesting season from March to October, and it peaks around like the mid of the year.
And how, during that season, how many roughly? What's a number on how many turtles are hatched and released to the ocean?
Oh wow, that is hard to answer because it's not fixed every year. So they have like peak years and low years, and so it depends. Like in Lang Tengah, we had like 65 nests last year, and you get around like 100 to 120 eggs per nest for green turtles.
Oh wow.
But then this year we only have 26 nests at Lang Tengah. So it depends. And like for Tanjung Jara and Chaga Hutan, they have different numbers. Like Chagahutan is actually a very productive beach, and this year they have more than 400 nests. So it's really hard to say, which is why we monitor the numbers, and over like long-term monitoring, let's say 10 years, 20 years, then you can actually see the trend. Is it going up? Is it the same or is it going down? So yeah, so that's what we do.
Okay. So how many turtles have you seen hatched? Both, each of you. I'm just curious.
Wow.
A
Hmm.
thousand, couple
Wow, I
thousand.
can't more. A few hundred thousands.
Oh wow.
Like yeah. Yeah.
You too, Jenny?
I think I definitely see less than selling, but I would say definitely a couple of thousand as well.
Okay, wow, okay. So how did the Turtle Watch get started?
The Lang Tengah Turtle Watch actually started back in 2013 when our co-founder Hayati, Puan Hayati, she actually is the landowner of the campsite at Lang Tengah. So there was one day that actually she found out, oh, there's nesting turtle right in front of her land, the beaches in front of her land. So she was like, okay, I want to do something for the turtle. Yeah, so then she gathered a few friends of her. Then she just started in 2013 and slowly expanding the work to Tanjung Jara, like at Dumun in 2016. And then we recently, which is last year, we just also just expanded our conservation efforts to Kete, which is the Chaka Hutan site. Yeah, so we would say the organization is growing definitely. So we hope we can see more and more turtles' eggs got saved, and hopefully there are more and more turtles in the future.
What kind of dangers will the eggs face before? Because that's what the night patrolling is, right? To protect the eggs.
Yeah, so I think the main threat that we want to address actually human threats. So the night patrolling is so that we get to the nest before other humans. Yeah, then of course the subsequent threat would be natural predation or even erosion. So those are natural threats. But what is really threatening the species is actually human activities. So if we can already reduce that, it would at least help them to recover.
Okay, what are we humans doing?
People actually collect turtle eggs for consumption.
Oh, okay, okay. Is it like a delicacy?
Yeah, yeah, it is. And of course, it's also a food source. Like imagine back then, all the coastal communities, their food source is actually anything from the ocean and from the beach. So it's a very like in fact, turtle eggs could have been much cheaper than chicken eggs. So it is a very easily available food source for local people. So and of course, it's a tradition and it goes on until the species itself became endangered, and that's when conservation started, because if not they would really go extinct. And that is only on the nesting phase and like the egg and hatchlings, but then you're talking about adult turtles being threatened out at sea, like fishery bycatch, pollution, like so throughout their whole life cycle they face a lot of threats, but the greatest would be from like anthropogenic in nature actually.
Jenny, is it only green turtles, or is there any other type of turtles that nest there?
Yeah, so at Lang Tengah Island, we actually have two types of turtle. So one is the green, of course, but then the other one is hawksbill turtle. So hawksbill turtle actually quite rare. This year we only have two nests, and last year we have three. So it's really not much of the hawksbill turtle nesting, but well, any nest count, every eggs count. So we it's really happy to see them. And this year we actually get to see the hawksbill baby to like hatch in front of our eyes. So it was really fun to see and release them back to the sea. Yeah, and they actually totally like they actually behave totally different from the green hatchlings, because for green hatchlings they will like swim very fast once they go into the water, but hawksbill they will like go slowly, enjoying their
Uh,
life, chilling. So you can see total
how
different things.
Yeah, they have like a different defense strategy. Like green turtle is like I gotta go really fast and avoid being eaten, but then hawksbill is like, you know what? I see a predator, I just pretend like I'm a dead leaf and I don't move, and that's what they actually do. They just stop and don't move. Yeah.
okay? How can I tell the difference between a green turtle and a hawksbill?
Do you mean by the baby or the adult?
Either or. Like, so if I see, we'll start with the baby, and then I'm assuming it's the same for an adult, or is it different?
It's different. Yeah. So baby is
Different.
easier because their
Okay.
color is totally different. Yeah. So for the
Okay.
green turtle, yeah, baby is like black color at the top and white color at the bottom. While for the hawksbill baby, they are like brown at the top but black at the bottom. Yeah, so it's totally different thing, and the size as well, so you can see very obvious. So green turtle baby generally bigger than hawksbill because their egg size is different. Yeah, so that kind of limited their size as well for the hawksbill. So yeah, but for the adult, they actually look quite alike. If you are just in the water, they look quite alike. So usually we'll say like look at the big part, like the mouth part. So if like you can see the big, like it's the sharper, then that will be the hawksbill. Or it's like a rounder part, blunted part, that will be green. But also there's like a few way to distinguish as well. So one of the most easiest part we see, like we'll say, look at the prefrontal scales of the turtle, which is like the top two scales right above their nose.
Green turtle have one pair, hawksbill has two pairs. Yeah, sometimes you get confused between like a maybe like a juvenile green with like a hawksbill because they look small. So yeah, it does take time to like know what to look at and things like that. And hawksbill also have like serrated side of the shell, and they don't have like a smooth scutes combining together like green. Their scutes are like overlapping. So yeah, so they have different features in that sense.
What is the typical lifespan of a green turtle and a hawksbill? Are they the same?
I like your question. Well, I don't actually know, but turtles probably can live more than 100 years, but I do not know if hawksbill can live longer or green. I would say that as long as they are not killed before they're supposed to die, they can actually probably live up or more than 100 years.
Oh,
And I
wow.
think it's the same for both species. Yeah,
Okay.
and we don't really know. But the longest that I have seen is a nesting mother. So I think we saw the nesting mother in 2011, and when we checked her tag number, she was first tagged in 1980,
Oh, wow.
and that was when she first nested. She would have been like more than 20 years old, so they can live quite long.
Okay, okay. Well, Ginny, we'll start with you. What do you typically do on a day off from the project?
A day off from the project. Usually,
I know. Food. Eat all the food you want.
yep, that's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing. The other thing will be sleep all day long.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Sailing? What do you do on a day off?
I think the same. Like for me, I think I catch up on sleep. Because night patrolling happens at night, so you do have irregular sleep. Especially if you're at project site, it's hard to distinguish between personal time and work hours because you work and live with your colleagues, with the interns, with the volunteers, and it's hard to say like guys, I'm like off now. Don't talk to me. Don't ask me anything. So it does feel like you are kind of on the whole time. So when we get a break, it's like, yeah, I feel like it's just getting enough rest. Like your body just feel like, oh, I need rest. Yeah.
Okay. My last question for each of you, and then I will let you go. So, if there is one message that you would like to say about conservation or turtles, what to do, what not to do, what would that message be?
I think what I would say is because people always like to ask like what can we do like if we want to save turtles, and I do have to say that a lot of time it does not mean that you have to do the work that we do. Like that's the reason why we study this and we work in this field, is because we actually spend the time and we dedicated our time to work with the turtles or to work with all these species and to save them. But if you're not from this background and you just want to do something, if you really just want to like do the work, then of course like look for volunteer projects and volunteer your time, and then you get the experience and exposure as well. But otherwise there's so many more things that you can do not being on site, and you might not see a direct impact to turtles or even marine environment, or like because you don't see it, but even some of our daily life habits, or like just reducing plastic, single use plastic, and be more cautious about like where we discard our waste, and sort them out, and if we can recycle them, all these actually kind of contribute by the end of it towards the environment. So like you might not see it directly impacting something, but I think it's knowing that whatever we do in life, if you're not so directly involved with conservation, is to know that everything you're living off, that there's an ecological impact, footprint on the environment. And if you can just be more mindful and practice like sustainable or green lifestyle, that would already be very helpful. I think that helps. Like it's not just the turtles, but it's really like our whole ecosystem, the terrestrial, the marine. Yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah, actually, I was kind of gonna say something similar to selling. So yeah, I would say you do not shop impulsively. Do not because nowadays online shopping is very easily everyone buy Shopee, Lazada. So it's like it's yeah. I appreciate that you really want to help the economy, but yeah, you have to think about the Mother Earth as well. And then yeah, so I think a lot of my friends who like have been saying like say to me that like Jeannie, I really like your job. Like your life is my dream because you get to live in island, you get to do all this diving, you get to see the coral and turtles every day. But the thing is like yeah, I'm helping the earth, but like you didn't see the tough part of me, like when I struggle at the island while have like scrolling Instagrams looking at you all eating all this Korean fried chicken and the stuff. I was like
That's true. Grass is always greener at the other side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's just like you have to live at the moment. Yeah, I just say like, yeah, just live at the moment. Enjoy what you're doing now. Yep, eventually we'll get better.
I want to thank the both of you very, very much for coming on to the podcast today. I will add links in the description so that way people could reach out to you. But thank you very, very much for coming on to the podcast today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us as well. And I have a lot of fun. I was actually quite nervous about it, but I thought like it should be fun.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like it was really fun as well, especially when Selling and I was like trying to fight to talk. Yeah, it was really fun.
Off Gassing, a scuba podcast.